President Trump announcing a deal with Intel, having the federal government take a 10% stake in the company. Listen.
If we had a president who would have said, okay, you can go to Taiwan, but we're going to put a 100% tariff or a 200 or 300 or a 500% tariff, anybody that sells into the United States has to pay. They wouldn't have left. They ended up giving us $10 billion for the United States. So we picked up $10 billion. And we do a lot of deals like that. I'll do more of them.
But some are hitting back at the president's choice, with GOP Senator Rand Paul calling this a step towards socialism and a terrible idea. Here to react, host of Sunday Morning Futures, Maria Bartiromo. Maria, Senator Rand Paul has a point. I mean, he's basically saying the definition of socialism is government ownership of a means of production. What do you think?
Well, you're right. I mean, he has a great point this morning. Good morning to you. Look, it's hard to argue with free $10 billion, and it's hard to argue with all of the money that President Trump has been luring into this country. But the truth is if you are a free market capitalist, you do not want government investing in public companies. It introduces political influence. It may prioritize government goals as opposed to profit maximization. It could create an unfair advantage for other companies that are in the sector. Is government going to treat that company better than another company? Is there going to be an unfair advantage for the other companies within the space? It undermines a private sector economy and the competitiveness to a private sector economy. And then it arguably could harm other shareholders who are watching political influence come into the situation, who really are just in that company because they want to see growth, they want to see competitiveness. So there are definitely reasons to raise your eyebrows about this situation, whether or not government gets involved in more publicly traded companies. This specific situation, because it is semiconductors, may actually offer another alternative here in terms of thinking, because we are in a massive race with China right now to have the best semiconductor chips. You know that 90% of our advanced semiconductor chips right now, these are chips that we use in the military, not just for our phones. These are military products, and 90% of them are made in Taiwan. So President Trump really needs to amp up the competition and win this race, win the race on military, win the race on technology, win the race on AI when it comes to China. So there is this massive race. Now, China has stakes in many companies and basically runs the whole sector in terms of government control. You don't want to go down that route. You don't want to become China in that regard. But I understand the massive competition and the efforts to get a leg up, to ensure that we have the best companies and the best innovation. I am taking a pause, watching the situation play out, but my first instinct is that instinct, and that is that you really don't want to see government controlling publicly traded companies. So we'll see how this plays out. I mean, you know, the president is luring all this new money into the country and returning wealth to America. So, again, it's hard to argue with that. But I think Rand Paul does have a point, and the skeptics here certainly do make valid assessments.
Yeah, smart guys like Steve Moore we had on earlier, he sort of sees this as a corporate welfare situation, but you laid it out perfectly. This is a unique situation. Hey, so you've got a big show coming up on Sunday Morning Futures, including one of my favorite members of Congress, Byron Donalds. Who else do you have?
That's true. The Florida congressman is a member of the Oversight Committee, and we are talking about what I'm calling the chickens are coming home to roost, okay? After 10 years of attacks and lies against President Trump, from the Russia collusion story to, you know, all of the indictments and impeachments, now we are seeing things like possibility of mortgage fraud, criminal referrals, a raid on certain people's homes. We're going to talk about all of that and what Byron Donalds is doing in the Oversight Committee. We're also talking with Alina Habba because they are trying to stop anybody who is a Trump pick from moving forward. Of course, she is the acting U.S. attorney in New Jersey. We also have a very special interview with the president of the European Central Bank, Christine Lagarde. I spoke with Madame Lagarde heard over the weekend, and we talked about so much from monetary policy. Do you know that the ECB has cut interest rates by 200 basis points in the last year and a half? You know, it used to be that the Federal Reserve set the tone for monetary policy across the world. No longer the case. The ECB has actually been setting the tone, and that is the result of all of those years of Janet Yellen and Jay Powell, what that has done to American leadership. We're going to get into it with her. The full interview, by the way, is going to be on tomorrow morning on Mornings with Maria on Fox Business. It is a really deep interview, and I hope you'll join me tomorrow morning for the full interview. We're talking with John Solomon from Just the News. He has broken stories about how Jim Comey tried to leak information and did leak information to reporters during the Russia collusion story. And then the race that everybody is watching. Governor Andrew Cuomo is my special guest today as well to talk about the mayoral race, where right now, speaking of socialism, Griff, right now, Mamdani is running and leading in the mayoral race. We will see if New York City goes socialist. We're
unbelievable.
This morning.
Great show. Sunday Morning Futures coming up in about 7 minutes. Maria, thank you.
I'll see you then.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.